Welcome everyone to the Umzansi Esports League, brought to you by Nodwin Gaming Africa. Season 4 is finally here, and we had such a cracking day one of the PUBG Mobile segment that it was a bit scary. Actually, we'll tell you a little bit more about that later on. But first off, let's go take a look at the schedule, because this one's going to be a fun one. So, looking at it, of course, it's only the PUBG segment for tonight. We've got our three Max, Erangel, Sanhok, and Miramar coming through the cycle we all know and love. As we take a look at it, of course, I mean, by now, these teams, they know the maps. They know how to play these maps. Of course, let's take a look at that prize pool to see why everyone is here. Why is everyone flocking to the Umzansi Esports League, getting those registrations in and making their way to it? And it is, of course, for that prize pool. Same as the last season, we've got $17,500 up for grabs between our two titles. FIFA 22 has a total prize pool of $2,500, which will be starting in the later weeks as soon as the transfers have finished. And PUBG Mobile, which is what we're all here for tonight, has a total prize pool of $15,000. So some nice change to go in the back pockets there. And speaking about what happened yesterday, let's take a look at the leaderboards. And Patchy, if you would, my good sir, please do take us through that leaderboard as it currently stands.
Yeah, I would certainly be happy to. Just taking a look at this already, you can see there's some spicy things happening right at the top of that leaderboard. It's Arilla Insider with 53 points. So starting things off nice and strong and representing here in Umzansi Season 4. Of course, 4KT has to be up there at least top 3, else we're going to be slightly disappointed. They have made it. They're in the second spot at the moment off the back of yesterday's games. 48 points for them. KHK, of course, also representing along with C with 40 points and 33 respectively in positions 3 and 4. So some very, very nice stuff coming out of those top 4 teams. Moving down to team number 5, it's Team Somalia with 29 points. In position number 6, it's Black Clover with 27 points. BBC in 7th place with 21. And of course, Young Thunder in 8th position with 14 points. So that is your first page right there. And the results of yesterday's games were certainly very interesting. Some crazy stuff coming out of those teams, especially those top 3 teams. I definitely recommend watching yesterday's games. If you missed out, they are on the VOD, so you can go check those out if you did miss them. Of course, on the second page, we've got Sincerity Esports in position number 9 with 14 points. Fear in 10 with 12, as well as Team Unique with 12 points in 11th position there. We've got Ultra 6 in 12 with 10, as well as Lag Esports with 10 in 13. We've got the Compy 6 in 14th position with 8, and Rainbow 6 Madagascar rounding things out in position number 15 with 5 points. Of course, the rest of the teams have not yet played, but we will see some more today. Some more teams tussling. They're going to be heading into the cycle once again, the cycle of 3 maps. Our bread and butter Erangel, of course, our CQC in Sanhok, and then of course our wide open spaces in the form of Miramar, which is still to come. And this is how you get the points. This is how you move up that leaderboard. Straight off the bat, first position is going to give you 15 points. So you definitely want to work for that chicken dinner. And then, of course, second place gets you 12. Third gets you 10. So those top 3 spots looking super juicy. Fourth position gives you 8. Fifth gives you 6 points. Sixth position gives you 4. Seventh gives you 2. Between 8 and 12 will give you 1 point. Positions 13 to 16 will receive no placement points. And, of course, it's 1 kill, 1 point, which was a huge thing for us last season. And it's going to continue through into this season. Such an impactful, powerful tool for the teams that are able to clean up and get those kills and really get things done. And it's really, really good to see, because that means that the fights are absolutely epic. Yesterday, we saw a little bit of chaos towards the end of the map, so the teams, a little bit hesitant to engage. Maybe that'll continue out throughout the beginning of the Season 4, but I hope that starts to, flatten out in a little bit, and we'll start to see some crazy aggression. Of course, having a look at the teams that we're going to be seeing today, Group C is going to start out with ATROX, 7 Sins, Art of Killing. We're going to have Aphelion Apex, also Influence Rage Africa, the Immortalz, Toxic Esports, Zero Tolerance Skills, and Rain from Hell. So some very familiar names coming through from the previous season. Going to be able to put up a nice fight for sure. At least that's what we expect coming out of some teams that we know and love. Of course, some new team names as well in the mix. I know 7 Sins, Art of Killing was one we saw during the promotional relegational. Very good to see them. Then, of course, moving on into Group D, we've got Solar Esport, we've got the Magicians, we've got the Sidemen, the Natural Killers, the Infinity Africa, we've got EXO Redefined, G3 Temper, and of course, Black Crystal. Now, with G3 Temper being in the mix, I am definitely expecting to see something come out of them. The Season 3 performance, not as we were really hoping from them, not as we were expecting, but they certainly weren't as lackluster as some other teams that we did see dropping off and down the board last season. So hopefully this season, G3 will be stepping it up and giving us some crazy show. If they don't step it up in the first 2 maps, I'm expecting them to take Miramar at the very least.
We're going to wait and see. I mean, Fire, were there any of the teams that you saw, obviously coming through from Inkosi, you were there with me watching these teams fight it out day after day to try and get in position here into Umzansi. What are some of the teams that you're looking out for?
Yeah, one of the things we're looking out for is the Magicians. You saw them at the end of the Inconstant last season, come out all the way on top, managing to upstage the guys from KHK. So these are teams that, I'll be looking out for today. Black Crystal as well. There's so many different Inconstant teams. And as you saw yesterday, Reader Insider sitting at the top at the end of the game, these guys are gunning straight for that title. They're not holding back, even if you just promote it. So yeah, definitely looking to see a lot from Magicians.
So, I mean, we've got quite a fire set of teams going through today. And I mean, Patchy, the first day was a little bit slower than we would have expected normally. How do you think today is going to continue? Do you think, once again, because it's the first time that a lot of these teams are going to be meeting each other, not only in their own groups, but also outside of their own groups, do you think we're again going to see that slow-paced, methodical play as everyone's just sort of understanding who they're up against?
Well, I mean, the first argument that you could say is this is basically day 1 2.0, because these teams obviously haven't played in the season yet. So for them, it's the first day that they're playing in the season. So it's sort of like a repeat of yesterday. With that being said, though, I really hope that they don't take it slow. I'm going to say the same thing that I said yesterday. Just throw it in. Just go for it. Like, there is no reason, at least to me, that you should really take things slow. I think if you go out with confidence, you're going to be able to learn and gather a whole lot more. I think the cautious road, you could save that for later, save that for the tactical plays maybe, during the middle of the season. Beginning of the season, just go all out, because you want to test your skill against as many people as possible. See who gives you trouble. See who you can take out for free. Because as soon as you start to learn that dynamic, the quicker you can do that, the more easy it's going to be to make those points as the season progresses. So I really do hope that we see some testing the waters from some of the teams. I'm definitely, as I said, expecting G3 to at least do something along those lines, because they need a resurgence. They need a comeback. They need to show us who they are in this season, because I don't know, I feel like, they lost a little bit of that rumor that we saw earlier on in the previous seasons. And then last season, they were trying to find themselves. So I hope that they have found themselves, because they are here, hopefully, and ready to get into some action. If they are, then I'm definitely going to be watching them for sure.
I can agree with you there. Fire, do you think some of the crazy strats that we saw coming through from Inkosi are going to continue today? Do you think the Inkosi teams have maybe adjusted a little bit to, keep up with the rest of Umzansi?
Yeah, definitely. I do think so. The inconstant teams have that, power to grind through. The zones a lot faster, and inconstant is a lot tougher to get in week after week. So they're used to hard conditions. And coming into the Umzansi, they will bring that fast tempo, that fast gameplay of getting into the right positions as quick as possible, and just holding the spots. And that's what we've seen from guys like 7AOK, the Magicians, and yeah, I'm hoping to see that today, because they do know how to rotate quickly into the zone, getting good spots and all of that. And I do think that they're going to give teams like G3 a run for their money. So yeah, hoping to see good gameplay from G3, like Patchy has said, but they're going to have like a really tough fight coming against this guys.
I think preparation has been very important for a lot of the teams, but we're about to see how it's going to pan out for them as we are getting ready and loaded. The plane is taking off, and the first game of the second day of Umzansi Season 4 is about to kick off, and it's at this moment in time that I give it off to our amazing casters, Fire and Patchy, to take you through all the actions. So guys, please take it away.
Thank you so much, Esproxy. It's map number 1. It is bread and butter Erangel to start things off, and we've got a very nice flight path coming through for these teams. Nice and clean. Of course, they're not going to really be able to jump down into that Sanhok military island, so I'm going to be very sad again, but at least I have access to the rest of the map. You can already see a couple of teams jumping out nice and early. We've got some teams headed over past shooting range and Severny, so teams already heading down into the map. And I'm interested to see where G3 drops specifically, because I know some of the spots that they used to like on this map, at least in the previous seasons, they do like that farm Milta area above Eastern Bridge. If they can't get that, maybe they'll go down towards that Western Bridge and we'll get something going down there. As I mentioned, I really hope we see them get aggressive early, but I guess it remains to be seen. Everything's all right now.
Yeah, definitely. Just like you said, everything's up in the air. It does look like they're moving towards that region right now with INF just around their spot, and several different teams are, just seeing that map right now. You can see it moving towards that. Might be in for some tough battle. How do you think this one's gonna go, Hachi? Just taking a look at the zone right now, you can see that region within Gatka is free. So G3 might or 7A okay might be looking to rotate towards that center where Apex and Solo are currently within.
You know what I'm seeing right now? I'm seeing a zone where most of the teams are already inside, which is, position number one. That's great for all these teams. That means their looting phase is going to be nice and easy. But look at what I'm seeing right in the slap bang in the center of that zone, that mountain. Look at that mountain. That mountain has been huge for a lot of contesting teams in the past seasons, because if you have the top of that mountain, you have a brilliant vantage point around so many of the surrounding areas. And the fact that it's right in the middle of the zone might mean that that mountain stays in play for a very long time. So it might be really useful to grab that mountain somewhere along the line in the next couple of zones. So whether it stays in play, I mean, that could be a very tough position there. And we might just see quite a bit of fighting. So I really hope that happens, because that's always fun to see. For the time being, though, we've got the Natural Killers right up ahead of the Immortalz. Sahil doing a little bit of scouting towards Osiris and seeing if he can maybe get a couple of pot shots off. But yeah, right now, I don't think they really want to commit to an all-out fight, because otherwise one of them is certainly going to get wiped out here in Sunken Town as they try and get some loot going.
Yeah, definitely. Just like you said, the team Natural Killers are just trying to play it a little bit safe. They got one player who's far away, and King already gets in that particular one knock and getting the finish right there onto Roshi. So Natural Killers already have that disadvantage. With Juicy all alone, if the guys from Immortalz do push onto him, they may be able to take him out and already put a lot of damage onto the guys from Natural Killers. They are already separate. So he does look like he's about to make a move. I'm not sure who he's pushing right now at this particular point in time. Maybe they don't know where Juicy is located, and he may be the trump card for Natural Killers to turn this disadvantage for the.
Yeah, as I said, I'm not sure if the Natural Killers really wanted to go for it. And as you mentioned, they have been put a little bit on the back foot here, but certainly not down and out just yet. They are separated, and you can see one of the Natural Killers players all the way on the outskirts has to do a little bit of that rotation to maybe get away and try and regroup with the rest of the team. In the meantime, the Immortalz trying to get some vantage points over to the last few Natural Killers players up ahead and maybe pick them off. So they're in a little bit of a tough spot. Juicy is being focused at the moment by MFP, and the rest of the gang just slowly moving up. And he's very much, he's been caught straight out as well. Juicy just going to get taken out. There's no ways he gets rezzed here. Cyrus is too far away, and the last Natural Killers player's gone off to the side.
Yeah, and you can see the guys from Immortalz now making up that push. Umar's definitely going for that finish right there onto Juicy, and Osiris and Nova have got to make a move or just pull away from this one and try to get themselves as much placement points as possible. Or maybe Osiris trying to make the move right now feels like he can actually get one or two knocks. They can hold them off and try to get as much kills as possible. Nova is not really in that position where Osiris is, so it does look like Osiris might be going on for that, one solo V squad. I'm not sure, but anyways, he does look like he's not he's not moving away. He wants this fight. He wants to go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he feels confident enough to take it. We'll see if that confidence is warranted at this point. I definitely think that rotating away is probably the best decision here, and it does look like he eventually comes to the same conclusion. But you definitely don't want to get pushed 1v3, 1v4, because, I mean, all the Immortalz members are still here, despite that knock earlier by Osiris. He wasn't able to get the thirst, so you definitely don't want to regress on that. Maybe he was hoping to see some of the Immortalz players pushing up on him and get a couple of picks there. Maybe he was confident in a 1v2. But yeah, it looks like he's not going to get anything for free. So well played by the Immortalz, a nice clean push, and they didn't overextend either. They really have just made it very difficult for the Natural Killers, although Natural Killers still have 2 of their 4 players left, so they can still regroup and make something happen here potentially. The rest of the teams, of course, as you can see on the map, quite a few of them have decided to move to the outskirts, and actually Rain from Hell is one of them. They've gone very far off to the side over towards Kameshki, and they might just be getting into a little bit of trouble on that side as well. The blue zone has started to move in, so it is becoming a little bit of an issue, but it doesn't do too much damage at this stage. They don't have to worry much about that. What they might have to worry about is, of course, the rest of the teams that are concentrated towards that eastern side of the map. Once they start moving back into the zone, we'll see if they can secure themselves a spot. But with that said, I'm interested to see where the next zone does drop, because as I mentioned, with that mountain in play, if it stays there, it might certainly be quite a hot point of contention.
Yeah, definitely. Just taking a look at the zone right now, you can already see guys from Influence Rage already trying to move into that center, trying to get a position right there. You'll also see the guys from XIS also making that move. So a lot of teams are trying to get themselves into great spots. Black Clover is already on the move as well. EXO is already on the move. And I do see some of the players from G3 already getting into a vehicle. So it does look like they'll be making that move as well. So without many spots right there sitting in the zone, it will be curious to see who does get into a fight while they're trying to make that rotation. And yeah, it'd be curious to see how many teams we have left when the next zone does hit. Rain is still sitting down in the zone right there, and I do feel like we're probably going to lose a team or two to just rotations, but let's see how it goes.
Yeah, we will just have to wait and see. It looks like G3 did, in fact, go to their favorite spot there beneath farm towards the eastern bridge. They got their loot now. They're moving out once again. And once G3 starts to roll in, it might just be a pain train for the rest of the teams. We'll see where G3 decide to settle. At the moment, I can see quite a number of teams concentrating around the natural killers. The Immortalz, you can see quite a number of teams concentrated towards the eastern side of that central mountain. Quite a number of teams up towards the north and the west as well, but mostly around the east is where the teams do seem to be concentrated. So I wonder if they might just have a bit of an issue if that zone decides to not be in their favor. I guess we'll have to wait and see about that. The rest of the teams, of course, making their way down in towards that zone. First blue, not much to worry about, so they don't have to worry about dying to it just yet. But of course, you don't want to get caught out in the blue in the future. We did see a couple of teams yesterday getting taken down to some of those cheeky blue zones, so you do have to be careful. You can't take those blue zones for granted.
Yeah, definitely. You can take that blue zone for granted, and you want to get in a good spot. INF already making that move. G3 looking to edge it right there. As you can see, them just taking a spot along that edge. So yeah, they're pretty much just taking it really cautious right now, not looking to get into any fight as quickly as possible. INF not too far away from the guys from XIS right there, and they're holding the building quite comfortably. They have a good spot within that zone. So yeah, I'll be curious to see what teams get into a fight next. Well, INF is one of those teams. What do you think about INF, Pachi? I mean, how do you describe their style of play? They seem like a team that's always really aggressive sometimes, but we never see them, getting those top positions within the leaderboard. Why do you think so? Why do you think it's different for them, compared to teams like 4KT and G3 when it does look like they have that amount of firepower?
Well, when it comes to Influence Rage, their performances in the past have been sort of up and down. We've seen some good stuff coming out of them, and we've seen some kind of meh stuff coming out of them as well. They did have some good performances, but I think the biggest thing that I have to say when it comes to the difference between teams that have the capability versus teams that actually accomplish, and manage to stay at the top is consistency. I think that's always the word that comes in when you talk about that kind of stuff. It's consistency. Can a team consistently play the game and adapt to the situation? Because sure, it's good to be able to be aggressive. It's good to be able to be defensive, but you have to know when to do both of those things. And you have to know when to choose your moments, how to rotate, how to get all these things. And you have to be able to balance everything very consistently. And the teams that can do that the best, usually perform the best as well. So I think when it comes to that, just looking at a team like, for instance, 4KT, we have seen them consistently towards the top. Even their performances yesterday could be attributed to that. They were making it into top 3 very consistently. And I mean, it's only been day 1. They're getting upwards of 40, 50 points, which is great performance to start things off in a season like this. So we'll see if these teams can pick up the slack here. They have the opportunity to do so. They've got 3 maps today to make it happen. We're sitting on map number 1, and so far we still have 16 teams left. And this is the thing that I was worried about. This is the situation that I was kind of worried about. If we continue to have 16 teams still alive as the zone gets smaller, things are going to get more and more difficult to control. And I think the teams that are going to be able to perform really well in that situation are going to be the teams that can hold their own when all that chaos eventually breaks out. And I think the most experienced teams will probably be the ones who are able to do that. Teams like, for instance, G3 or maybe even Natural Killers, the Immortalz. We're looking towards them to see what they can actually make happen here. And of course, you can see that zone has shifted slightly towards the north of its position. The mountain is still in play, but it's interesting to see that it has not been contested yet. Obviously, the team's not too interested in taking that particular position for the time being. They're just more interested in staying alive. But I wonder how long that's going to last for them, because eventually something is going to have to crack.
Yeah, definitely. But what's really interesting that I saw right there on the map was the rotation that GT was doing. It felt really like an overkill. You know, they came all the way from farm, going all the way, crossing the bridge, and going all the way on the other side of Rosehawk and shooting range, trying to get a good spot. It does feel like they had scouted so far just to find a particular spot where they can stay. But you can see the guys from Ring Gaming now getting into a fight right there. One of the players now getting knocked right there, and hopefully they'll be able to get that revive as the guys from EXO do look like they're not making that push. Do look like they're just going into one of those buildings as they've gotten a knock, you know, also, but they're able to get that revive. They're just taking a spot. They're not making that push. They're not going for those all-out kills. They're trying to play cautious. And you can see that every single team right here is trying as much as possible to get, you know, into that final zone. They're not making that aggressive push. And I guess it's because, you know, it's still the beginning of the season. They're trying as much as possible to get maximum points as they can get, and just get those points off that leaderboard. But I do feel like they should be making those aggressive plays to get the kills as well.
Well, I mean, now that the teams haven't made any of those aggressive plays, they're going to make some very slick and quick decisions, because now that that zone has shifted up, once again, you can see that the playable area is being reduced that much more. We still have 16 teams left alive, 61 players. This is absolutely nuts. For the amount of space that we have currently, we are going to be running out very, very quickly. I mean, look at these teams are now moving in. The chaos is coming. EXO redefined under fire from Toxic. Mr. Rogi going absolutely ham on that. EXO having to reposition into the hut, but the teams are just streaming past as they try and get themselves over in towards the zone. Of course, G3 getting themselves across as well. You definitely don't want to run into that team while you're making your rotation, because they will slaughter you. Right now, those teams need to get their way into that zone as quickly as possible, because time is running short. We're moving from zones 3 to 4 very, very soon. And once we pass that line, moving in from 4 to 5, I mean, the space is going to be non-existent. You're just going to be fighting everyone. It's going to be a 360-degree third parties from all sides kind of a slaughterhouse.
Yeah, definitely. As you can see, the different teams are trying to get into that zone, trying to get into their particular spots within, you know, that circle right there. And definitely going to be a disadvantage for a lot of teams. As you can see, EXO redefined losing a couple of players right there to Toxic. And you know, this is what it is. This is what it is. If you don't want to fight in the map, definitely you're going to be forced to, as it is closing up. But the teams are all rotating. They're all getting the good spots right there. G3 Temper just surrounded by a couple of teams. They have Rain, they have Black Clover, they have ATX, ATROX, just around them. So definitely going to see a couple of fights. As Six God does get a knock onto one of the players from Ring Gaming and does take him down. One of the players from Black Clover has also been taken down right there, Zia. And this is where we begin to see the action popping up from the different teams.
It certainly is, and as you can have a quick look on that map, you'll see all the teams up towards the north just absolutely congregating. We see Rain from Hell, we see G3, we see Black Crystals absolutely going nuts. Burden going to be putting the shots in. This man doing absolute work for G3 in the previous seasons. Now he's rolling up on the competition, bringing the vehicle all the way to the top of this little mound here. They are putting the pressure on Rain from Hell, and Rain from Hell have no choice but retreat down that tunnel and hope that G3 don't follow them, because man, oh man, if G3 go hunting for you, it is a tough time. And of course, already those nades are being lobbed to try and soften up the targets, maybe just take a little bit of the HP away from them before they make the final push, or maybe just choke them out, because right now that blue zone is moving in, and G3 have them trapped in this position. They're just spamming the smoke because they know Rain from Hell has to move up, otherwise they will die to that blue. Molotovs going through, bullets flying through G3. They're just ready to contain this one. They're going to stay here. They're going to wait for Rain from Hell. They're going to play the long game. Skull's going to make the first dash along with August to try and get out of the tunnel. G3 making the rotate away. They hear the vehicles, but Six has stayed behind. with some help to try and stop them from going through. They've actually blocked the entrance with a vehicle. I'm not sure if they can even get past this. They're going to have to jump over.
Goodness.
It's going to be tough.
Oh my goodness, that's absolutely going to be tough right there. You can see the guys from GT just setting up, the guys from Rain right there and blocking them. But Six God goes down. I think they've been able to get a knock. If that molly does hit him, they might be able to get that finish onto Six God. It's a really tough one right there as he's on fire, and Brodin might be able to get that revive onto him. He pops the smoke and getting that revive. But man, this is a really tough one right there. But Exo Redefined just come into the fight right here as they're able to get some knock themselves onto the guys from Toxic. And we're seeing several different fights coming on from different positions. Call does get taken down. Six God is down as well. And the guys from Wave Gaming filling in a lot of heat right there as they're able to take out a couple of players right there from G3. It is fight on fight. They're getting third party right there from the guys from EXO, and the guys from G3 have been taken out right here. Rain Gaming is in a really tough position trying to get into the zone as EXO Pablo is pretty much just holding them off right here.
I respect the play. G3 sacrificed 2 of their players to try and keep Rain from hell at bay. Now they're split up and they're facing down the barrel of so many crosshairs. Matrix going to be taking down a couple, and the rest of the Rain from Hell members. Basically, the nails in the coffin are flying, and there it is. Goodbye, Rain from Hell. They get sent back to the lobby, all thanks to the sacrifice of 2 of G3's players to keep them in there. The rest of the kill feed going absolutely nuts. Of course, you can see the zone has moved a little bit to the north. The team's flooding in to try and stay alive inside of that safe area. Fights happening quite a bit towards the northern portion of that playable area. We have quite a couple of teams in that spot. Osiris just off to the side. Sleepy trying to put a couple of hits in towards Black Crystal here. Titan under quite a bit of fire and no chance of his team coming to save him, especially with Sleepy now rolling up in this very slick looking vehicle, taking some shots from Tomac. G3 just nailing the coffins of so many players. This is what they do. Of course, they do have to be careful, though. There's only 2 players for themselves. But so far, they seem to be managing this very tough situation here up north.
Yeah, I feel like that play from G3 to try as much as possible to, set up the guys from Rain and, take them out of the game was a bit too... I mean, they could have probably stayed with a full team. It was a bit too adventurous for me. But anyways, they did it. They've taken out the guys from Rain Gaming. Those guys will be looking to probably get some revenge on them. But now they've got to get into a good spot within that zone. As you can see, Zone already making that shift with Toxic being the only team, or Toxic and 7OK being one of the only teams in that zone. So every team around has got to make that rotation in. Well, you still see the guys from Magicians, and this is what they do. Still holding a full team. The guys from ATROX still with a full team. And 7OK as well. It does seem like a lot of the teams from Umzansi do know how to stay, together. They do know how to stay compact. We also see one of the players from Apex, INF, also with a full team as well. So the next zone is definitely going to determine a lot of things, but we still got about 13 things left. That's a whole lot, and we're about to see some action coming down between the guys from Toxic and Solo. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, we've got 7 AOK, very nice and chill off towards the east, just by their lonesome. Got a couple of teams moving in from all other directions of the west and the north, looking super spicy. Dean is actually going to be getting a nice pick up there on it towards Bones. They're Toxic getting eliminated as well. 12 teams remaining, 33 players. Make that 11 teams. There's another team that gets taken out. G3 still in the mix. Althea going to go down to Rids. Mortal does hit the floor as well. Scarto putting the shots in. Legacy takes Vibes down. Mortal also going to get thirsted. It's quite a bit of a battle happening here towards the west. Absolutely nuts. Rids tossing some nades across. Is he going to be able to keep the pace, though, as Pablo and Sleepy now moving up slowly? But there's so many crosses to worry about. Sleepy losing HP quicker than the time moving down on that clock for the blue zone moving in. Rids continuing to try and keep his team alive on this ridge. But man, oh man, the reses have to come in super quickly because there are some teams that are ready for blood. They are looking for some kills. 10 teams remaining. We're finally in our top 10 at the moment. 27 teams left alive as we soon are moving in from zones 5 to 6, and things are going to get even more tough as the space is running out. Playzone actually going to be doing some damage as well. Nova falling down to that. 9 teams remaining now as everyone is just scrambling to try and survive.
You can see a lot of teams just trying to be absolutely smart about how they're making that push. They're taking the fight, but they're trying to rotate in. You just see the guys from ATROX just abandoning that fight and just moving straight into that zone. The guys, you know, who were our champions for Umzansi, the Magicians, also do have to make that move into that zone right there. You can see Gunner getting taken down right there, and he might be finished right there by Osiris. As Osiris, one of the players who survived early on from NK, does make his way in. Siko getting shot by Ritz, and the guys from Magicians just popping up shots onto who is the last player from Apex, and he does get taken out of the game. We're down to 7 teams, and we've got Magicians. We still got G3 with Tomac, that one player still sitting down quite comfortably in that zone. I'm not sure how many players left from NK, but I do see Osiris right there, and Solo holding a good position, looking to make that rotation as well. And one of the last players from ATROX does come into that build. I'm not sure what he was trying to do, but we're probably just avoiding fights, and does get taken out, and we're down to 6 teams right here, Patrick. Who do you think is going to win this?
Oh, man. I mean, G3 is so low. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to squeak out a win here. Tomac, of course, the only one left for the teams, just moving around the edge here. Natural Killer's in the same boat. You can see Osiris literally right up ahead of Tomac, and they might just run straight into each other and maybe go for a little bit of a fight here. So as for who is going to win this one, I'm not sure. We'll have to wait for the next rotation, maybe get it reduced down to 3 teams perhaps, because right now it is just who can make the dash quick enough. Syntax is going to go down in the meantime as is going to be juicing himself back up with some energy to try and stay alive. You got to get things going super quick though, because that zone is chasing down. It's on your heels. Team's not making the rotate in. We've got a couple of spots still open there, but it's not too much. You have to be careful about how you play this one. It's just going to go down. Oh man, 5 teams left. So much damage. Look at this cross mapping right here from Manfilas. He's just going for it. He is not afraid to just put the damage across. Hainsley also looking for the same Influence Rage, continuing to put down the fire here, and they might just be in a very good position to take this win. If Influence Rage can play this properly, they have a really good spot, but they're getting absolutely slaughtered by all the teams pouring into the zone.
Oof. Man, my goodness. A couple of teams right there are just pushing into that zone, pushing into that spot. And you can see the guys from INF a couple of the players getting taken out by the guys from 7AOK. And this is what we said in the beginning, you know, the teams who have come up all the way from Umzansi are not holding back. They are gunning for blood. They don't care about what your name is they're pushing you and they're taking you out. And you can see the guys from 7AOK, Manfilas, and his brothers just getting into that position and taking out a couple of players right there from INF. So I'm really curious to see who does finish this one out. Legacy far away from, you know, his teammates right there, and Syntax will be looking to move into that position as well, as they're taking up shots onto several different teams. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. Let's take out another player right there from the Magicians, and he might be able to get that res onto Hansley. So yeah, it's really curious to see who, you know, actually does seal this game out. We still have about 5 teams, but just 8 players. 7AOK still sitting comfortably with 3 players in this game, is looking like they might be favorites to close this game out.
Yeah, it looks like it might just be Influence Rage has a couple of players in their hands as well, maybe able to pull something out of the hat, but right now 7AOK with the numbers advantage look like they might just be able to run away with this. They've got some good cover, a good position towards the zone, especially considering the other teams and players need to move quite a fair distance to try and make that dash happen. In fact, they might even not be able to make the dash happen because there are so many players waiting for them to move, waiting for the rotation just to capitalize on their positioning, which might just spell the end of it. All of the teams on the outskirts right now. The blue is slowly moving in 20 seconds before it closes up, and things are not going to be any easy. Hainsley looking for something on the side, but is playing it safe, playing it slow, not overextending, but he gets taken down, tries to take a fight with Magicians, but goes down immediately. Hainsley taking the shots, does go down. Scissors is trying to make it happen. Osiris hits the deck as well. 4 teams remaining as Influence Rage under fire. 7AOK right up, pushing through over the hill, but Scissors is still staying alive, but instantly getting taken out. He can't handle the pressure. 7AOK still alive. They've got the numbers. They've got the positioning as well. 3 teams remaining here, and they could easily take these 1v2s. It's just a matter of time before they get rolled over. The Magicians holding on by a thread, their legacy. Yujiro as well, very low for solo. these guys could get taken out with a single stray bullet. 7 AOK, if they play their cards right, they're taking a chicken dinner right here.
Yeah, definitely. They're looking like they do have a really good spot right there. You can see Manfilla just sitting within that zone, but Legacy trying to make that push right there, but does get taken out right there by Score, and it's all left to 7 AOK to try to make that move to finish off this game as they are up against one of the last players right there from Solo, and he's really low. He's able to get a knock onto Score, but it's all just left with Manfilla to see if he can seal away this game, and he's just got to be patient right here as Solo is getting taken out right there by the blue. And we have a win from the guys from 7 AOK, finishing that game right there with 5 kills and rotating into that spot and getting that winner chicken dinner.
Yeah, absolutely. A great call coming out there. 7 AOK taking that chicken dinner, picking themselves up 5 kills in the process, followed by Solo with a pretty good, healthy number of kills for themselves as well. Coming in second place there. We got the Magicians in third as well, coming through with some 4 kills. Very, very nice performance for map number 1, I think. So that definitely makes me excited for the next couple of maps, although I do hope they turn up the pacing just a little bit.
I mean, yesterday we had 2 Nkosi teams coming up with a win. Today, the first game of the day, we have another Nkosi team coming up with the win. I think we might have to analyze a little bit about what these Nkosi teams have been doing, because clearly it's working out pretty well. Patchy, as the Umzansi residents, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I've seen the Umzansi quite a bit. I've seen all the seasons, so I know what the teams are like. And to see the Nkosi teams coming up and really giving us quite a show means they're obviously doing something really, really good. I know that they have had some of the teams I've heard have had some very good performances in other tournaments. So they have really come off the back of some good successes and some very good preparation for this particular arena. So I think they're really just well prepared. They're riding a high on the top of the wave, sort of cresting the wave at the moment, and they really are just showing us a good performance here. Whether that's going to be consistent or not is another question, but for the time being, they really are stepping up.
Fire, I mean, you were there with me with Nkosi. Does it make you proud to watch the teams that we watched for so many weeks come out and actually get the W?
Yeah, definitely. We talked about this last season, and for those who are just joining that don't know about the Nkosi, which shows up every Tuesday, it's really hard. It's really tough. These teams get to grind every single week trying to qualify, and when they do, at the end of the day, they've got to get into that top spot, right? They've got to get the kills. They've got to get a winner chicken dinner every single week. They don't know if they're going to come back the next week and try to get into that top 2 to qualify for the game of the day. So it's really tough for them. And I guess grinding through that throughout 8 weeks sort of like elevates their gameplay in a way. They learn how to rotate into the zone properly, as we're seeing right now. They learn how to take those close quarter fights in that final circle and finish up those games. So that's just what's playing out for them right here.
It's awesome to see. We can see the scoreboard on your screen at this moment in time. And actually, it's Solo Esport coming out on top because of the amount of kill points that they picked up in that last game. So although they didn't get that winner chicken dinner, they are still at the top with 1 point difference between them and 7 Sins Art of Killing. So that's quite an interesting statement to make. Influence Rage Africa coming through in 3rd place. The Magicians in 4th place with 14 points. Natural Killers coming through in 5th. G3 Temper making an attempt there through 6th place. Sidemen in 7th place. The Infinity AF coming through in 8th, rounding up your top 8 for the first game of the second day between Group C and D. Of course, Toxic Esport coming in clutch there, and 9th place. ATROX in 10th with 3 points, tied with Black Crystal, who's in 11th. Immortalz coming through in 12th place. Aphelion Apex and Zero Tolerance and EXO Redefined, all 3 with 1 point, sitting between that 13th to 15th spot. And Rain from Hell, unfortunately, there towards that last spot. So I mean, it's bizarre. Weirdly enough, the people you would imagine in 13 to 16s are the ones who didn't really pick up any placement points, but there's a little sprinkling of kill points here and there. And Patchy, I mean, you said the name so brilliantly. If you wouldn't mind, please do take us through this MVP.
Of course. Influence Rage Africa sporting the MVP in the form of he's just doing some serious work. 5 kills, 815 points of damage, 24 minutes of survival time. Is really just out here doing the most for his team.
This is really just a fantastic player, and I'm really impressed with the choice of name. I would like to actually ask sometime why he chose that name. How did come to that
Very
name.
well
And
inspired.
it is. It is. No, it's amazing. It's truly inspiring. But moving on, that was the first game of the second day of the Umzansi Esports League Season 4, coming to your screens, of course, thanks to Nodwin Gaming Africa. So, I mean, first game done and dusted. When we come back after this short break, of course, it will be Sanhok. So the action is just beginning. It's just starting. So make sure you get your popcorn. Stay with us. We'll be right back after the short break. Welcome back, everyone, to the Umzansi Esports League, brought to you by Northern Gaming Africa. First game done and dusted, so we're going to take a look at those standings to remind you, if you've missed it, about what happened in that first game. And of course, once again, we had some Nkosi firepower coming to the top, but it was Solo Esports that came out with that first place finish because of the amount of kills that they did actually pick up, which is actually tied with Influence Rage Africa. So, Patchy, if you wouldn't mind, please do take us through it.
Yeah, let's run through those standings for game number 1. It is Solo Esports sitting in pole position for that match, coming off the back of some very nice performance for the placement points and 9 kills in the pocket for 21 total points. Sevenson's Art of Killing, of course, coming in second place with a nice juicy 15 for the winner chicken dinner, and those 5 kills giving them a total of 20. Of course, third place, Influence Rage Africa with 17. We've got the Magicians in fourth place with 14 points. Natural Killers coming in fifth with 9, as well as G3 Temper with 9 points in sixth place. Sidemen coming in 7th with 7 points. The Infinity AF coming in 8th place with 5 points as well. So right there, we've got some pretty good names. Some like the Natural Killers, also like G3. But I mean, we've also got some names coming up. Solo Esports, Seven Sins. I mean, the Magicians. We've got these guys that are absolutely slamming it right now. Yesterday was the same thing, and now today we're getting a repeat of that. So I'm very interested to see what we have going on into the rest of the matches that we have today. Of course, the next page of that standings is position number 9. It's Toxic Esport, 4 points. ATROX in 10 with 3, as well as Black Crystal with 3 points in 11th position. In 12th, we've got Immortalz with 2, in Aphelion Apex in 13th position with 1 point, as well as Zero Tolerance and EXO Redefined with 1 point each in 14 and 15 respectively. Rain from Hell coming in out in 16th position. There it is. That is the standings coming off the back of game 1. Now, of course, game number 2, or map number 2 at least, is going to be Sanhok, which does mean we have a little bit of CQC coming up, a little bit of craziness, a little bit of, well, hopefully a little bit of action coming straight off the bat. We did see a little bit of a change of pace yesterday. I want to see a little bit more of that right now, because we saw some chaos towards the end of the map previously, map number 1. I want to see a little bit of the action happen a bit early on so the teams can breathe, because I do think that we had some pretty high-performing teams getting choked out towards the end there just because there was so much chaos happening on the map.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just, teams being a little bit nervous because of the first day of Umzansi, so they were feeling each other a little bit out. And then towards Miramar, of course, we had those early on fights and those early battles, which resulted in teams dying out early on. And then we had a little bit more of a relaxed final zone. But again, so many teams managed to stay alive towards those 7th, 8th, final zones, which is insane. I mean, Fire, Sanhok, we know it, we love it. It's going from an 8x8 to a 4x4. What are you expecting? Coming from of course.
Yeah, I'm expecting a lot of teams to go wild in this one. Just thinking about how the teams played last season in the Umzansi, we would see a lot of people trying to rotate and getting caught up quite late in that zone, because the behavior of the teams coming in from the Umzansi is they're always trying to rotate it, they're always trying to get a good spot. But Sanhok doesn't give you that opportunity, because while you're trying to rotate, you don't have the opportunity to get into vehicles and just rotate into buildings. So just walking across or trying to run into several spots, they're always getting caught up. So I just see a lot of teams fighting in the blue zone and getting third party and all of that stuff. So yes, it's gonna be lovely to see how teams play.
And just for those of the viewers watching, if you are wondering why I'm here, not Mr. Sid himself, unfortunately he will be away till the 27th. So for now, you're gonna have to deal with my face. I'm sorry, it happens. It's fine. So just a few days, and then you'll find. Then we'll have the man back, spending the jokes and making the puns that I just can't. I can't make Dr. Sid level puns. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's what we've got Patchy for. So it works out because Patchy can make the puns. Right, Patchy? You've got us covered with puns?
I don't know.
I can't see you around my microphone.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, there's Patchy.
I'll do my best. All I can give you is some commentary on some hopefully great games, and maybe we'll see some really good names like
which is Sully, by the way. So Sully, if you're watching, if you do watch this later, why? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?
Why?
Like, I've done it myself, but why are you doing this? It's like it was planned, They were like, okay, what can we do to Patchy? What can we do to Fire today? Ooh, I know. Let's make my name. So if you want, you can refer to him as Sully. We at least know. But with that
We're
being the
on to
case,
you.
we answer you. We know what's happening here. It is going to be Sanhok. It is going to be the second map of day number 2 of the Umzansi Esports League, brought to you by Nodwin Gaming Africa. And we've got some amazing casters, Patchy and Fire themselves, to take you through the action. So, guys, please, without further ado, do what you do.
Thank you so much, Proxy. It's map number 2 of the Umzansi Esports League. Here we go. It is Sanhok. It's close quarters, hopefully CQC, hopefully some crazy action right off the bat, maybe. Otherwise, if the teams decide to slow things down once again, we're just going to have a slow game and then a chaotic finish. But hey, that's fine. We'll see what happens for the time being. We've got that heading all the way to the north. So a couple of those teams down south are going to have to get their butts moving. We already have some fighting, though. Or is he going to be making some hits already off the bat? Some pans being flung around. Skull going to get a pan to the skull and get taken down. Man, oh man, we have some fighting straight off the bat. That's what I like to see.
Yeah, you can already see the guys from Brain Gaming making a push right now onto 7 AOK Skull, and it does look like he's alone in this particular position, and he does get taken out right there as Neon does get that finish onto Skull. It does look like one of the guys from Rain Gaming has also been taken down as well. So it does look like it was just a quick exchange from the two teams right there, 7 AOK. And it's a really interesting one, as we do expect from Sanhok. You can already see that the guys from INF getting 1K right there with the pan. Oh, a player must feel really, really down getting taken out of a game that way. And we also see the guys from Apex, Aphelion Apex, also getting knocked themselves. They are in a fight with XIS, as Kage has gotten a couple of knocks right there and gotten another knock onto XIS Sad Boy. And yeah, interesting to see how this game does progress, but definitely what you expect from a Sanhok game, this level of intensity.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen so many Sanhok games where the teams are able to, space themselves out really well and just not engage for the first few zones. And it's the long game, it's the strategic play. It's great to see, but also on the flip side, it's really nice to see some hot drops. It's nice to see some early fighting. It's nice to see some aggression coming out right off the bat. And it's also nice to see people getting panned in the face. That's always fun. So yeah, it's good to see that happening already in zone number 1. We've still got plenty of time before things really heat up, and just to see teams getting busy already is really, really great. That's what I like. Hopefully it continues. It looks like the teams have the intention to continue at the very least. Looking for some fights here. We've got Old Boy just holding the angle there, watching to see if anyone's going to be cheeky enough to push up. Kage getting some nice hits in the kill feed there as well. Dojal also going to be hitting the floor, so Rain from Hell under a little bit of pressure. He has Influence Rage pushing up bit by bit, looking to see if they can dismantle this defense here. Old Boy still holding the corner, waiting for the likes of Kato to push through, but has to be careful about the flank, and indeed he does have that in the back of his mind. He does have to be careful, though, because this is a bit of a tough situation. Anyone who makes the first move might just be liable for a third party.
Yeah, definitely. But this is a really interesting game. I just want to talk about Kage for a moment. He's one of the players, who's got a lot of potential right there for his team, Apex. Apex is one of those players who has really grown, and, he's getting a couple of knocks right here. I've seen him, just take on teams, even in previous season in Umzansi, all on his own. So definitely lovely to see him, just getting a couple of knocks right there. It does look like he got a squad wipe himself. I'll need to check on later on. But Rain Gaming are getting pushed right there by INF. It does look like Old Boy is able to get one knock onto Easy, and they've gotten another knock right there as Neon does get that kill. And this is looking really bad for INF, as Rain Gaming just putting in the work right there. I'm not sure how many players they do have left. Those look like they came in with 3 players, and it's just left with Ammo, who's just hiding behind that rock. If he can actually get one onto the guys from Rain Gaming, then maybe it might just be a 1v2, and he may be able to take out the guys from Rain Gaming and get that sweet revenge. I'm curious to see what play he does have right now. The guys from Rain Gaming might be able to smoke up to his location and, pretty much just take him out from several different flank angles.
Yeah, he doesn't have too much to do here. I mean, I think his repertoire has run out for the time being. Not many options left available to him. All his team is gone. He is pinned down. Rain from Hell knows exactly where he is. It's just a matter of time before he gets taken out, unless he pulls off some miracle 1v3. Not too sure if that's even possible at this time. Ammo does find the first one, but he has to find two more. Are the bullets going to fly? Are they going to aim true? Let's have a look at Sidemen taking quite a bit of damage there, but Ammo does go down. The Uzi is quick on the trigger. And down he goes. Rain from Hell going to be winning that fight, which is great for them. Syntox, in the meantime, going to be putting a couple of shots across to some of the teams in the surrounding area. Some of the players moving across on the one side. You can see Natural Killers right up here on the top of the hill. Osiris looking to see if he can spot any angles down in towards the Magicians here. But they all hold up inside this house relatively well, so it's going to be pretty easy to stay alive under cover. For the time being, Magicians got all their players in the pocket as well, so they're still looking nice and strong. But of course, that blue zone is going to start moving in, and things will start to heat up bit by bit. And of course, once that starts to happen, you know, things start to get quick. This map is notorious for just getting faster and faster the later and later you go. Mash going to get taken down in the kill feed there. Reki putting a couple of shots in there. We're seeing ATROX now moving across towards the coast. Paradox getting taken down by Juicy as the Natural Killers start to aggress on that front. ATROX now moving up towards Toxic as well, seeing if they can pick a fight with them.
Oh, the guys from ATROX getting pretty much dealt with right there by the guys from Toxic as they do get a couple of knocks. So be curious to see how they do close down that particular one. But you can see the guys from Magicians holding a pretty good spot right there onto the guys from NK. And NK is, you know, just another team. You know, we're talking about how INF is one of those teams that has the potential to, you know, pretty much boss any lobby, but consistency is pretty much what they don't have. NK does feel like they are within that same kind of vibe. You know, the guys from Osiris, Juicy, and all that. They do have a lot of experience. They do have a lot of firepower within their team, but consistency is just something that we haven't really seen from them. If they can find a way to unlock that, that's definitely something that would change, you know, things for them, and they may be able to consistently be able to get a lot more points than they are doing right now. But yeah, I'd be curious to see how they play it in this fight. They have a really tough one ahead of them versus the guys from MGC, and you can see Legacy getting that particular knock right there onto Osiris and taking him out right there. They're pretty much going to be making that move right there. And you can see Roshi just hanging by that wall right as he is also getting taken out by Reeds from the corner right there, and they are pretty much putting an onslaught onto them, and that's definitely what you expect from the guys from Magicians, who were, by the way, the champions of the Umzansi last season. And yeah, actually, what do you think about this fight so far?
Yeah, right now, Magicians been winning things out. The Natural Killers under a little bit of pressure. And of course, with the pickup of Roshi and the rest of them, they can back off. They don't have to push too far. So the last of the Natural Killers will be able to stay alive for the time being. So a good decision from the Magicians in the meantime. The Black Crystal under fire. Althea are going to go down immediately as Solo aggresses on their position. Zia are going to have to retreat around the corner. And they are looking, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to find him around this corner here, just trying to sneak around and stay alive. Samurai a little bit too low to find him, so won't be able to do anything on that front. Negus, of course, picks up that Samurai actually falling to the doom, which is a little bit of an issue there. You don't want to do that. The rest of Solo can, of course, look for Zia, but I'm not sure if it's even worth it to go hunting for this last kill. It will be a nice pickup, an extra point, and of course an extra placement. But at this point, you know, maybe you don't want to just go too far off the beaten trail. Mighty, though, he is looking, and he has actually just found Zia coming around the corner, but he's not looking. He doesn't check his corners. That's a problem. Zia gets a free kill because Mighty wasn't paying attention. That's a little bit of a problem, but at least now they know the position of Zia. But are they going to be able to capitalize off that? It looks like they're not really in the position to do so. So Zia might just get away for free here. The rest of Solo just going to try and Skyrim it down there at the edge of this cliff to try and help Samurai out. Just flinging themselves down. Negus is actually going to have to heal himself back up. He takes quite a plunge there, but doesn't go down, luckily for him. They're really playing a dangerous game here, and they're not even bothering to try and kill Zia, which is going to be a little bit of a problem because Zia now has the potential to capitalize and take them out because he's still got a full HP and he's got the height advantage now.
Yeah, definitely. Just like you said, he's pretty much got the advantage. But I do think his play definitely will be just, holding at spots within the zone, just watching and taking things easy at this particular point in time. Samurai has pretty much gotten raised by NDX, and yeah, it's curious to see how this game can just change at any particular moment. You thought at that particular time when Mighty was pushing onto Zia's position that he was definitely going to take him out. You know, but if you don't pay attention to your environments, these are the kind of things that happen. And Zian does have the opportunity right now to probably surprise them again. With that high position, so they gotta play careful. They gotta play easy. He pretty much will just hold this position and wait until they make that rotation onto the position where you can see the rest of the guys from Natural Killers are staying. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this one does play out for the guys from Solo. But a couple of teams, like 7 AOK, Solo, who pretty much, were in that final circle in the last game, having a really tough time right here. And this is definitely what you see from the Umzansi. One map, it does look like you're busting things around and you're getting, maximum amount of kills and points. And the next match, you're just, not finding it as easy.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely right. Now the natural killers are right up here in the little compound. Usually gonna put a couple of shots in towards you across the road. Solo as they make their advancements. Yujiro just hiding behind a tree to save his life, and so far it is working, but it's not much cover to utilize in the long run. And Juicy knows it. He's waiting to see if he peeks out. At the moment, Zia's still alive, actually takes the plunge down the cliff as well. So we've seen a lot of players just running off of cliffs in the last couple of minutes, and thankfully they are still alive. Juicy, of course, going to be looking into the smoke, trying to take a couple of hot shots. Ichiro will stay alive for the time being. Some nice misdirection there, playing the ninja game with that smoke, but it's not going to last forever, so he has to get himself out of a troublesome situation. The rest of his team off to the one side, so he has to try and regroup potentially, or maybe just get himself out of there. Which indeed he does decide to do. Yujiro making a dash for it, will stay alive for the time being, as Juicy does do a little bit of damage, but no kills or knocks just yet. Zia still alive after all this time. Applying those bandages, get himself back up to full HP, and just keeping the hopes and dreams of Black Crystal alive for the time being. We'll see how long it lasts. At the moment, we're only 2 zones deep, so anything could happen. And we have seen some lone dog plays, some lone wolf plays, should I say, by some of these plays in the past. So maybe Zia will be able to pull something cheeky off. I guess we'll just have to wait and see for that. Solo also making a move as everyone's trying to get themselves across into a safe spot. They need to be able to secure their positions for the zone as it is moving in bit by bit. Solo is still trying to take up a position here at the edge of the zone up against the natural killers who are just up ahead of them in that compound. Just waiting for some more things to really break out. Ooh, Zia gets spotted by Juicy. That should be a kill right there. Yeah, it is.
Ooh, Zia trying to make a way into that zone right there and getting spotted by Juicy as we saw right now. And yeah, the guys from Nakova do get taken out of the game. I was really rooting for him though. I was really thinking that he was probably going to get into a spot and probably get his team all the way to that top 5. I think he should have probably waited to see if teams would just rotate into closer spots within that zone. But Solo is looking like a team is looking to take out the guys from NK. They want to get those kills. As you can see, prior to this game, they were sitting on top of that leaderboard. Not because, well, they got some placement points, but they did get a couple of kills as well. So we do know that the team looking to get those kills, always looking to get those kill points, and they may be looking to take out guys from NK and get those points in the bag. You do see the guys from Toxic, trying to rotate. They just got about 2 players left. They're trying to rotate and get a good position within that zone. They may be heading towards that region, in Tatmok, and they may find themselves in a good spot, just right next to the guys from INF. And you can see that zone shift. We got INF close to the zone. We got G3 Temper sitting in Paradise. We got Exo Redefined and Raid Gaming, who have given us a couple of action right there. 7 AOK, they're all sitting within that zone. Still got about 12 teams, so it'd be curious to see how the different teams are going to rotate. We do see the Immortalz, they have pretty much, free compounds and free, spaces in front of them. So, and so does Apex. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the different teams, will now begin to rotate in. Solo has a tough one as they do have to that water all the way into those regions between Paradise and Bootcamp, and that's really a tough play. As you do see the guys from Zero Tolerance, not right there, might be able to gatekeep them. So yeah, it'd be curious to see who does finish this one out, who gets that third party, and who finally does get that winner with a chicken dinner.
Yeah, we will just have to wait and see. At the moment, quite a number of teams stacked up towards the northwest. Of course, G3 being in pole position there in Paradise. They've got a nice compound control. The rest of the team's just going to have to sneak in and find their way into a secure location. Other teams making their way in slowly but surely. We've got Solo as well as the Natural Killers, as well as Magicians and Toxic moving in from the west and the northwest, trying to get themselves into their own compounds and their own safe places for the next zone, which is closing in very quickly here. You can see Influence also making their way on up here. Ainsley on the corner there. British just taking a look and seeing if anyone's cheeky enough to come around that corner. The rest of the team, just zoom in to catch up with that particular position. Perhaps we've got EXO redefined in this compound right up ahead of us. Nova getting taken out immediately by Solo there as they try and come through. The Natural Killers getting punished for the rotations, but this is what happens. 12 teams remaining. As you can see here, Juicy also in a bit of a difficult spot, basically going to be following in the footsteps of his teammate if he's not careful. Solo ready to pick up that cheeky kill for the rotate. Magicians up ahead of them in the north, moving through into a safe place across that line. Toxic deciding to take the long way around, which is probably a smart decision. You can see Juicy trying to outrun that blue zone, trying to catch a breath as he takes that swim. But I think this might be the last swim for his match here, because Solo is right up ahead of them. They are staying ahead of that blue, but Juicy not in the greatest position as he is taking damage from the blue zone at the moment, and he's going to have to play that healing game.
Yeah, definitely. But while this is really interesting, there's also something going on right there with the guys from INF. Also, as they are being gate kept, and you can see one of the players are just getting taken down right there. And it'll be really interesting to see, because we've spoken about them, as one of those teams, with the guys from Mercury, Hansley. There's a players, who have the firepower, to boss any particular game. But sometimes, things just go against them, and they just get taken out. We also do see Juicy getting taken out, the last player from NK right there. But EXO Redefined has just been in a position where they're just gatekeeping them. But Potato has gotten back up right now, and it does look like the guys from INF may be getting that push, or may begin to get that push onto the guys from EXO Redefined. It's curious to see how Godless and the rest, pretty much just hold them up right now as they're getting pushed.
Yeah, right now, Godless just waiting to receive that push coming through from INF as they make their way up across those nades, just popping left, right, and center, just trying to do as much damage as possible. Ainsley going to go down. Sean is on the trigger quick enough to repel the attack. Godless just waiting behind this rock to see if anyone is going to be peeking. You'd see Reki off in the distance as well, moving through. EXO still in control of the compound, but for the time being, Scissors and the rest of the team are moving in. Godless taking so much damage. British in the meantime getting taken out by Ainsley. Godless juicing himself back up to full HP. Here's EXO still trying to repel the attack. Influence just pushing up bit by bit. Silly trying to make things happen, but Pero going to go down to Potato. A nicely placed nade is going to be exactly what they needed to make this attack work, and up they come. Mercury and the rest of the squad pushing up to the small wall. Sean getting spotted out and can't control all of those players just rounding the corner at the same time. It's just impossible to win a situation like that short of a miracle. So there it is. Up they come and instantly taking control of this compound. We're down to our top 10 teams at the moment as Mercury and the rest of the squad move on towards the road. G3 right up ahead of them, as well as Rain from Hell in just up to the north of them as well. So they're just going to be going in from a very tough position to an even tougher position, depending on how G3 would like to respond as well, because they are pushing in. They have to get across that line into the safe area, and they're contesting Rain from Hell. They're like, hey, I see your compound there. I want it.
Yeah, exactly. The guys from Range just pretty much making, that bridge between the zone, that line, and G3 tempo. You can see Bardin trying to get that knock, but they got to make that push if they do want to get into that zone. So they do know they have to, get into that building right there, as Bardin is really low, just hanging in by the side of that building right there. But G3 tempo is still trying to make that push, still trying to get into that building. They know it's just two players in that building. If they can get one knock or two, then they've got themselves a spot within that zone. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. But they might be getting third party from the guys from INF who are just hanging right there just on their south. And it's really, really, really tough for them, right now to try to make their way in. But Old Boy and Rain have got to make that move, as they've lost two players right now. They're just hanging inside that building, and one Molly could take them out. But Gunnar and the rest of his boys are not relenting. They're looking to push into that building. Cisco does get taken down, but Borden coming in right now and also does get taken down. And it's now a 2v2. The rest of GT Temple coming into this one and putting in that work and taking them out. The zones coming in, they have got to get those reses quite quickly and get into that zone. GG's for GT Temple.
Yeah, a nicely played push from G3, and right off the back of that, 7 AOK going to be doing the same thing. The mission's getting taken down. There are 8 teams remaining. Ujiro going to get taken down by the zone as Solo moving on through. Toxic going to be running away from Infinity, as Infinity making the push towards the northeast, just chasing Reki down, not giving him any room to breathe. They're not too sure of the position of Bones, though, so Bones could make something happen on the back there. But for the time being, they're just hunting Reki down, and they will be able to take him out. Ujiro going to get taken down as well. Umar hitting the deck. And, well, G3 now climbing up from the northwest. They might just be spotting Bones and the rest. Bones from Toxic, and of course Infinity moving down to the east to take up the position on that side of the playable area. With the 7 teams remaining here, they're going to have to try and squeeze inside. Manafly is getting taken down by Tomac as G3 start to roll in all of their destructive glory right now. You can see Bones just trying to stay ahead of that blue zone, which is not the easiest thing to do, especially when you're running up on Infinity right up ahead of you. Sahil, in the meantime, going to be going down. Skeeto putting the shots in. Hate's going to be doing the same thing as Sahil hits the deck there. Zero tolerance off towards the west, also trying to repel the attack from in the Immortalz there. 7 AOK in the blue zone. They are trapped. It's not going to be a good time for them. In fact, I think they might just be down for the count. G3 making their way into the zone. They will be there for now. Hates Immortal just making sure that everyone is having a super tough time to get into the zone. And that is the way the game is played. The team's getting chopped by the blue, by the bullets. The team's doing the gatekeeping. G3 now under a little bit of fire. Skeeto putting the bullets in. Is he going to be able to deal with the likes of Buren, though? For so long, he is being able to stay alive. He will continue to keep his life for the time being. G3, quite a bit of pressure being put on them at the moment. Ainsley goes down to the play zone. In the meantime, King might just follow suit as well. It's now Hates Mortal Vibes, and Skeeto are just pushing up relentlessly onto G3.
Oof, man, seeing G3 getting taken out there is definitely not what I expected, but the guys from Zero Tolerance just putting in the work right there onto them and taking them out. GG's from Skeeto and his boys. And they also did have, a couple of players just on their side. They have the guys from Immortalz as well, but Rusty just coming in right there from Aphelion Apex and taking them out. They've got to get into the zone. We're down to a final 4 teams. And take a look at Apex. This is one of those teams, a Nigerian team who, we haven't seen too much from them, today, but they're getting themselves that opportunity to get that winner with a chicken dinner. They still got about 3 players left. I'm not sure if they got a free team, but I've seen 3 players left. We got Kage up, but Toxic just coming in as spoiler right here to the guys from INF and putting in the work, taking down. I'm not sure I can pronounce it as well as you can. I did my best.
Poor he's gonna go down super quickly. Vibes trying to find some shots into Mercury, and gets a nice super long range defeat right there popping up on the screen, as you can see. Vibes going to come away with that. No problem. Kage now making a desperate dash up the side of the hill to try and reinforce the team up against likes of Hates and Skeeter. We're very low on HP. Can they make it happen? Mortal coming into the rescue to try and reinforce the situation. Can they make this happen? Is it going to be Rusty and Kage to make this work? Skeeter goes down. Hates also, I think, has fallen. I'm not sure if Mortal is still alive. Kage prepping those nades to try and get the slam dunk. Are they going to be able to make it happen? Skeeter goes down. And very nice nading coming out from Kage. Is it going to be enough, though? He has to do so much work here. Mortal making a dash down the side to try and go into the flank. Kage has to be ready for this. Takes so much damage, but he is putting the bullets in. Does get the kill as well. Mortal goes down. Kage is very low on HP, though. He has to be so careful using his first aid kit, but Vibes on the flank. This might just be a little bit too much. Cold has to come into the rescue. Vibes crawling down towards the right-hand side. Up comes Kage. Cold also looking for the hit. Skeeter goes down. Mortal. Kage hits the shots, though. Can he make it work? He has hit the deck. Vibes looking for some more damage, but it is overdone and dusted. The chicken dinner has been acquired.
Well, we were talking about Kage towards the beginning of this game as one of those players who's really improved and pretty much just carried, that position as top fragger for his team. And he's getting himself 7 kills right here, getting a whole amount of kills, for his team. Altogether, they have 10 kills and that winner with a chicken dinner. So that's definitely going to put them in a really good spot within the zone. And I'm definitely proud of, how he stepped up right here.
Yeah, Aphelion Apex taking a very nice chicken dinner. Kage as well with the 7 kills. I think that's definitely MVP worthy. I'd be surprised if he did not pick that up. So probably be looking out for that. But man, that was a nice way to end things off. A nice little squad versus squad for the final zone there on Sanhok. Some very nice pacing. I enjoyed the fact that we got straight into the action from the get-go.
Well, I'm glad to see that these groups, I don't know if it's the groups, I don't know if it's just because it's the second day, maybe they were watching yesterday and they were like, we can be a little bit more active this time around, but definitely the teams are looking for those kills. They are getting into the positions that we want them to be in, especially since we're so early into the season. I mean, now is really the time to be trying things out and maybe going a little bit more risky, but gotta risk it for the biscuit, right? So Patchy, I mean, did we have some teams getting some Patchy points this time around?
Usually the patchy points are acquired on the Erangel, but I think we gotta throw a couple of patchy points out here.
Can't just have one map of patchy points.
Yeah, I think everyone in this game gets a couple of patchy points there, just for making some quality early engagements and giving us some nice fights throughout the entire match.
Okay. I'll accept that for now. Looking at the standings, though, let's just remind you of where all the teams ended up. And this time, the team that took our winner chicken dinner was, in fact, the team that took that first spot. Fire, if you would, please do take us through this.
All right, so we do see the guys from Aphelion Apex coming in right there with 20 points, especially Cutsy to Kage getting 7 points, and altogether them taking away 10 kills right there. Zero Tolerance also in second place with 8 kills, and that second spot getting 20 kills. You see the guys from INF getting 15 points, and Toxic Esports also with 12. You do see the guys from Immortalz in 5th place with 9 kills, 9 points. G3 Temper sitting also in 6th place right there with 8 points. The Magicians also getting a whole bunch of kills right there, 7 kills, but only able to claim 1 point right there, sitting in 7th place, 7 out of killing, also right there with 8. In 8th place with 5 points, and yeah, it's been a really interesting one, seeing a lot of the Umzansi teams just coming back. It seems like they've heard us and just decided, hey, you know what, we're just gonna go all out against the teams from Umzansi and show them what we're made of. Rain from Hell also with 5 points right there, getting a couple of kills. So this map just shows that a lot of teams went all out to get the kills. And Solo Esports, who were the winners in the last game, getting themselves 4 kills and 1 point as well. Altogether sitting in 3rd place with 5 points. Natural Killers with 3 points right there in 11th place. EXO Redefined with just that 1 point. The Infinity AF with 1 point. Black Crystals with 1, getting 1 kill. ATROX with none, and Sidemen with none. So that pretty much just rounded up right there in the last game.
I like the fact that we've got such a different leaderboard looking at the second map, because it does mean that the teams are obviously at that competitive ranking. It means that you can't sleep on anyone. And I mean, Patchy, would you mind taking us through that MVP?
Yeah, I called it.
Familiar.
I called it. I called it. Obviously, it has to be Kage. It has to be Aphelion Apex, of course, performing really well. Kage taking the mantle on his back. 7 kills, 1,008 points of damage done in that match, and 23 minutes, 39 seconds of survival time for him. So he really was out here for the team, making the work, making it happen, and getting them where they need to be, putting some points on the board, which is exactly what we want.
It is. I'm glad to see that we've got so many teams actually staying active. And of course, the players themselves are stepping up to the plate and making sure that they're putting their best foot forward for the 4th season of the Umzansi Esports League, which is what we want. We want that. And maybe if they do it a little bit better, patchy points will be awarded and maybe they'll get closer to that prize pool. But of course, this is only the 2nd day of the 4th season of the Umzansi Esports League, brought to you by Nodwin Gaming Africa. So if you want to see the last little bit of action, make sure that you stay around. And of course, in the meantime, you can go check out that beautiful, snazzy Nodwin Gaming Africa website at nodwingaming.africa. So make sure you go check that out. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back, everyone, to the Umzansi Esports League Season 4, brought to you by Nodwin Gaming Africa. We're on to the last map of the day, and it's been an interesting one thus far. So far, I mean, Patchy, what teams are we leaning at? You know, we had different winners from the first and the second.
Yeah, I mean, it's really been an interesting showing because, we've seen the recently promoted teams doing really, really well. And then we've seen, of course, some traditional teams trying to step it up and engage and really show themselves to be well proven. So, I mean, it really is anyone's game. At this point, I'm just going to go back to what I said at the beginning of today's series. I want to see G3 get a little bit of success here on this map. I mean, we've seen, for instance, just taking a look at the standings from game number 2, there's Aphelion Apex. So we've got some familiar names, Zero Tolerance in position number 2. So Aphelion getting position number 1, Zero Tolerance position number 2, Influence Rager position number 3. So, we've got our familiar names just making a rep back up at the top 3 spots again. Then, of course, we've got those sneaky Magicians and the 7AOK coming in towards the bottom in 7 and 8. So, I mean, they're still there. They're still putting the points on the board, which is, of course, very, very important. So, but the coin have represented here today. I'm interested to see how which teams can close this one out. Who am I looking at? I would like to see G3 perform a little bit, but if not, I mean, we could see literally any one of these other teams step it up because I have seen some good stuff from all of them. They have really been giving us a good show here today. Of course, moving on to the second page, you can see everyone who is also putting some good points on the board. I mean, everyone is getting actually a pretty decent amount of points, save for, maybe like the bottom 3-4 teams not getting as much as they would have wanted. They're finding the points, and at the end of the day, that's really what matters. So it's nice to say that I can't see a clear-cut team that is definitely going to take a win.
I like that though. I do. Like for me, that's where the excitement from esports really comes through. Is when you don't know which is the team that's going to be taking it. I mean, PUBG Mobile Battle Royale, RNG comes into play as well, but generally we have those teams actually making the adjustments to ensure that they're the ones winning. I mean, rotations is the first thing that we always talk about, but the fact is, now that we have teams that are so close to being on par with each other, it really makes for an exciting game. Fire, how do you feel about the competition you've seen so far?
Yeah, I mean, compared to different seasons, because I've been in the sidelines watching the Umzansi. There always seems to be some teams like G3 Tempo, the 4KTs, Aphelion Apex, INF, who do have more firepower than the rest. But now with the teams who've come on from Inconsi, you never really know who's going to take home, the game. It's all down to decision making at the end of the day, how you rotate, how do you get into good spots and holding those positions. So yeah, definitely there's a lot more competition in this season, and I can't even predict who's going to win. I mean, see teams like G3 Tampa having a really tough time, and this is a team that used to just go into any lobby and be the team to beat. Now finding it tough themselves. So yeah, it's a lot harder than previous seasons.
Which is good. It means that, we force our teams that obviously have been here from previous seasons and the ones that are jumping into the new season to get better. They can't stay the same. They have to just keep adapting, keep getting better, and keep showing us the insane PUBG mobile skills that we've come to expect. And again, I always come back to the fact is I can't believe these guys are playing on mobiles. Like, huh? Like, eh? Like that sort of agility, I can't even do that on PC. I mean, you should see my aim on PC. I don't know how these guys are doing it on mobile phone, but they make it work, and they can see that they're putting in the effort, they're putting in the work behind the scenes, not only to analyze their games, but obviously to get the aim better, to get their agility better, to get their reactions up to the par where we completely forget that they're playing on a phone. We completely forget that that's the platform that they're using, and instead we just witness some really awesome esports going on. Patchy, last map of the day, and it is, of course, Miramar. Let's see how it goes. But the plane is starting, so it is my time to officially give it over to you guys to take us through the last map of the day for the second day of the Umzansi Esports League Season 4, brought to you by Nodwin Gaming Africa. It's Patchy, it's Fire, taking you through the action.
Woo! It's map number 3. Thank you so much, S-Proxy. We're getting into Miramar, and it is definitely going to be some spicy gameplay up ahead of us because these teams, it is the final game for the day for them to put the points on the board. So, of course, you want to make the most of it. You want to get those points as much as possible, and you've got lots of time and space to make it happen. A nice flight path going in from the east to the west. Very low down, a little bit lower than usual, but there it is. teams are going to be able to get themselves down onto that map, get themselves into position, ready to go. I'm interested to see if they're going to pick up the pace once again and make some early action happen, or if they're just going to hold things back and maybe play the long game. It's definitely both possibilities on this map in particular, but of course you open yourself up to quite a number of long range angles on this map, so you have to be careful about staying in one place and yeah, just hoping that things go well for you, because of course now we're waiting for that zone to drop. Once it does, we will see where the teams have to go and where they have to rotate, and that will ultimately just decide exactly where they're going to go. There's the drop, there's the zone, and it actually looks pretty comfy.
Yeah, it does. It does. It does. But one of the things that we haven't spoken about is why we're seeing a lot of early fights, why we're seeing, a lot of teams landing within the same spots. You do have to note that a lot of these teams are not used to themselves yet, because we're just starting the season. There's a lot of Umzansi, and they don't know their landing spots. They haven't really figured it out yet. So a lot of the Umzansi teams right now are pretty much just trying, where teams like INF, G3 Temple would go towards their regular spots and be totally free to loot it out. They will now find themselves, getting within those same spots and contesting it with teams who have made it all the way from Umzansi, and that definitely is offering, a certain kind of dynamics. But moving on to a couple of weeks, we may begin to see teams, change their spots, move to a lot more regions, and be a lot more dynamic about where they choose to land and all that. So I think that definitely is something that's making a play right here. What do you think, Patrick?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that will obviously come into play. The teams are still finding their groove here in Season 4. And, it's anyone's game at this point. They're all seeing how they fare on these maps. Potato going to get shotgunned in the face by Vibe. 7sins AOK going to make things happen over here. So already we have some things happening nice and early on. It's good to see. I agree with you. I think that's definitely a contributing factor to what is going on and why we're seeing those fights. As the season progresses, we will see the teams start to get a lot more comfortable with what they can do and where they can go, and how to approach a map from the beginning. For the time being, though, they're just testing the water, seeing what is happening. Bones going to get punched to death by Hainsley there, so we're already seeing some things happening all over the place, and surely it's going to come back to normal in a little bit. People will stop getting panned and hit and shotgunned, and things will go back to normal a little bit, and we'll see what happens, because of course most of the teams, as I mentioned, super comfy inside the zone. They don't have to rotate anywhere very far. They don't have to go anywhere. They can actually just sit there and do nothing but loot, which of course G3 is heading in towards San Martin to make that happen. Quite a number of teams stuck up towards the northeastern portion of that map. You can see 7sins over there. You can see Zero Tonnage. You can see Infinity. You can see Solo, Immortalz. Everyone's there. Black Crystal as well, mixed in with the rest of them. So there is quite a number of teams just shocked up into that corner of the map. We'll see if they sit happily with one another, or if they're going to maybe bump toes a little bit.
Yeah, we do see Chumasera also being free, so the guys from Magicians can rotate into that spot right there. We do see also the guys from Aphelion Apex pretty much spread out right now. Some of the players are hanging around all the way in that island, but Rusty and Siko are just freely looting several different spots within that zone already, so they might be able to call in the rest of the players to get in. But while Kage and Code are trying to rotate, they may come across a team who's just hanging around, right there by the particular bridge. But INF trying to make that rotation right now may get into a clash with one of the players from Toxic, as Mr. Raji might be looking to get out of that particular spot. So luckily for him, as they were just rotating into his spot, he was already in a vehicle and is just going to get out of that region, not get into any trouble himself, because he's not got any of his teammates around him. But taking a look at this map right now, actually, we do see the guys from XIS already sitting in that zone. And what we do know about Miramar is, if you're rotating in late, you pretty much are at a danger of getting your vehicle blown up. But now, taking a look at this particular spot on the island, we do see Kage and his teammate Coach trying to make it away across the bridge. But ATROX is just hanging around there. They're in two opposite sides of the building. So if they do try to cross this particular spot, they may just get taken out. And it does look like Kage has spotted them. He pretty much, knows that they're there. I'm not really 100% sure about that, but let's see how they do as Code is trying to make that move right there, and he's, just crashing that building, and the fire just coming onto him as I am high, just taking out some shots, taking the vehicle down a little bit, and Code just pops out of that vehicle. And this is exactly what I was talking about, them just trying to cross that particular spot. It was probably a great decision for Code to first of all try to go at it alone. So, and it's a 2v4, and definitely presents them with a whole lot of trouble right here. So let's see how they do play this one. The nade going out from Cole onto the position, but not able to hit his target as I am high is behind that fence and just bouncing, outside of the fence right there. So Pachi, what do you think is the best move for the guys from, Apex right now? Do they just run away from that spot as Cold is doing right now, try to get, onto that bridge and, gatekeep it? And, what will you do if you were in this situation?
Yeah, it's a very interesting decision that's been made here. Aphelion Apex, Cold making a dash for it. They have decided to split up and try and go for it. You can see Kage moving off to the west, whereas Cold is trying his luck over here towards the bridge. Very low on HP, so he's in a bit of a tough spot, and I'm not sure if he has any meds to really make things happen here. Ooh, Mash looking for a bit of a cheeky play there with that Mini 14, but doesn't spot anyone out just yet, so he's still going to be alive for the time being, but he's got bandages to try and keep himself alive. It's not going to be all that much to utilize, and Mash is certainly looking to do some damage, so he has to be super, super careful here. They are in very, very tough spots. Fear and Apex being split up like this is not the greatest position to be in, so when you do find yourself in this position, you just have to try your absolute best. Mash spotting him out. That Mini 14 is ready to tap away at that HP. Spotting out the feed. He's spotting out the peeking. Cold is pinned down at the moment. Players in front of him. Players behind him. I'm not sure if he's going to get out of this one alive. Certainly, ATROX do not want to allow him to do just that. So they're just encroaching on his position. The smoke has been popped. Mash just waiting for something to happen. But Cold's HP is not going to last. Down he goes. Mash getting the hit. And of course, he should be thirsted momentarily. That's nice and quick coming out from ATROX. They do have to get on their way, though, because that blue zone is rolling in. Luckily, it's not doing too much damage just yet, but they still have to get a move on. Aphelion Apex just going to suffer the losses of, the inevitability of when you're split up like that. Kage making the long dash across to the west. He is in a vehicle, so he will be able to make it. But yeah, he's certainly taking the long way around. And because of that, he's going to be split up from the team, which means both the team and him is going to be in a very difficult position until they can regroup.
Yeah, definitely. Just like you've seen, Aatrox just getting that push right there and getting that kill. And this is what we do love about Umzansi. We're seeing, a lot of teams, just be very dynamic about their play. In the last game, Apex getting that win. But in this game, they're losing one player in the beginning, and it may be totally different from them. Now it's definitely going to change how they do decide to play this. But you see Rusty and Siko just hanging around, the position where they got some Atros are trying to rotate into. So maybe they might be able to get a revenge, if Kage can join them. One knock or two might be changing things out. But looking at that zone right there, shifting all the way towards that eastern region, you do see a couple of teams already hanging in that zone. You do see the guys from Rain Gaming, Toxic has got Mr. Roger just somewhere in between there. Got some INF, XIX, several teams just hanging in there. But I feel in Apex does look like a team that's just waiting for Atrox to make that move and pretty much just do some damage. They're pretty much out for blood here to get that revenge.
Indeed, indeed. We'll have to see if they can find it. For the moment, you can see Siko just keeping a watchful eye out on that bridge as Pika tries to cross it. He might be able to find something, but the motorbike is super fast, going straight past. He will get nailed by Siko, though, as he tries to dash for safety. And certainly Thirst looking for the Thirst as well. Siko just putting the shots in as the rest of the team of Aatrox moving across that bridge and find themselves in a bit of a difficult situation. If they cross the bridge, they're going to go face-to-face with a team. If they don't cross the bridge, well, they're going to be going up against the blue zone. And of course, one of those things you can kill and the other one, not so much. So definitely there has to be a choice being made here. And Aatrox is stuck between a rock and a hard place. They have to push forward. Siko right up ahead of them is looking to do the damage. I'm High decides to jump off the bridge, and definitely not an advice that I can give anyone in real life. But certainly in this game, perhaps it might just work out dead. Gonna have to move back towards Mash. as they make a tough decision, a tough call on how to progress. Sicko going to make the decision to move forward, of course, rotating away from the fight just to keep ahead of that blue zone for a little bit longer, as ATROX are now slowly making their way across to try and escape that blue.
Yeah, definitely. But the guys from Apex are looking to get that revenge to just play spoiler to the guys from ATROX right there. They've taken out one of the players and forced them to decide to rotate from another bridge, and they've got to go all the way out. And I feel like they're pretty much content at this point. You took out one of our players, we take out one of yours, and pretty much just play spoiler to your plan. So they'll just be moving all the way into that zone. They're a really smart team, and they know they've got to get into a good spot within the zone, in order to get themselves, those consistent amount of points right now. And yeah, just taking a look at the zone, it's pretty much choked off. There's a lot of buildings to work with, as we do see in Miramar. You got guys from G3 Tampa. It's lovely to see that they have a good spot within that zone. So the next zone is definitely going to determine a lot of things. You got INF not too far away from them. You got 7AOK, XIS, and yeah, it's pretty interesting to see how this one's definitely going to play out. But one of the teams that okay, first of all, before we go into the point I wanted to make on the Magicians, we do see Rain Gaming and EXO Redefined just pretty much sitting as very should I say naughty neighbors right now, opposite each other. They're not making the push, but hopefully Neon and one of the players could get the knock, and we may see that action going down between these two teams.
All right, now we're having a look and seeing if Rain from Hell and EXO Redefined can go head to head. As you mentioned, being a little bit of naughty neighbors, exchanging some bullets, exchanging some fire back and forth. But I'll tell you who's in the better position. It's Rain from Hell. They're right on the edge of that zone. Of course, on the other side, EXO Redefined, not so much. And of course, G3 also in their sights. Tomac all the way on the top of the hill. Of course, we know how G3 likes to put their third-party shots in, but maybe they're going to be getting a taste of their own medicine here, as Pero is looking for those hits. Not able to find Tomac just yet. A little bit of damage done. Nothing too intense. Tomac can just push back off of that angle. In the meantime, Rain from Hell is certainly looking for a bit of damage. Sean almost getting taken off by Skull, as he is looking for a couple of cheeky peeks, a couple of bits of damage there in towards EXO Redefined. Godless getting chunked down to a tiny sliver of health there. So Rain from Hell certainly putting on the pressure, and EXO do need to make a tough decision here, because that blue zone is moving in once again, and that means they're going to be flushed out of their position sooner or later. So they do have to make the decision to rotate. It seems like they're going to be doing that nice and quick. Hopefully they'll be able to escape the crosshairs of Rain from Hell and even G3, who might still be in the area looking for a couple of cheeky third parties. You never know. It certainly could be possible. We still have 16 teams and 59 players left alive here on this map. Rain from Hell looking to change that number very quickly, though. Kato actually going to be taking out 6 from G3 there. So a couple of fights happening behind us as well. So all the while, these teams are looking for the aggression. They're looking to put themselves in a good spot. And EXO Redefined not in such a good spot. They need to get moving as quickly as possible. Otherwise, they might actually risk getting taken out here. And speaking of, Solo getting taken out by 7AOK.
Yeah, definitely. That's one team that, did get a winner chicken dinner. Well, they didn't get a winner chicken. They came second, but they were on top of the table after the first game, also getting taken out by 7AOK. But the guys from EXO Redefined are in a really tough spots, as the guys from Rain Gaming do force them to try to make a long rotation into that zone. And they're able to do that right now, get out of that spot. But the guys from G3 are able to get that res after getting knocked down. And they do have a spot within that zone. This is one of the teams, who have an experience, in the Umzansi Esports League, and they've gotten themselves, in previous seasons, especially in this map, Miramar, a couple of kills, a couple of winner chicken dinner. So they do know how to play. They do know how to get that rotation. And INF turning their sights onto NK, getting a couple of knocks right there. Osiris is down, and Ammo is looking around, trying to see if he can get that finish onto Osiris. Just crawling right now, putting in the damage right there. He's got Juicy not too far away from him. He might not be able to get that revive. The smokes are going in, but not early enough. Not quite enough for Juicy to be able to get that res, and INF just confirming that kill. We also do see the guys on the Magicians, pretty much getting into a fight right here with XIS. They're also one of those teams who have a lot of expectations after winning the Umzansi, so a lot of eyes are on them to see how they do, perform in the Umzansi. So far, they have just been pretty much average, but hopefully we will see them in a couple of games, bring out that firepower that we did see from the Umzansi right there. But speaking of the Magicians, what do you think is holding them back so far, Patchy? I know you may not have seen them really play, but being the champions of Umzansi, you do expect to see a lot more from them.
Yeah, I think it really goes back to two things. The first thing is obviously I don't really know exactly how they play, what they like to do, and I think the same can be said for exactly what's going on here. They don't even know what they like to do because it's a whole new world. It's like a whole new field, a whole new system going on here that they have to get a feel for and really come to terms with and get comfortable in. So for them, maybe just finding their footing a little bit here in the season. It is very, very early on. We're still in day number 2. It's the first time these guys have played at least, so they're still finding their footing, still checking out what is going on, seeing the landscape and shaping it for themselves. Certainly they have the chance to continue to step it up as we progress in the season, as they become more comfortable with the landscape of Umzansi Esports. We'll see if they can do just that. For the time being, you can see a number of teams making their way across that line into the safe area, but everyone is just stocked up here in their own compounds. You can see G3, they've got their own compound here towards the north, as well as Rain from Hell. Gunner looking for a couple of shots here, but it looks like they might just want to reposition. I'm not too sure. Natural Kill is taking a little bit of damage there from Infinity as they move on in. So everyone is looking to take some pot shots. Everyone's looking to do some third parties. Pablo getting taken out by Umar there. Some nice mini 14 shots going across the way. And that is exactly the name of the game when it comes to Miramar. Up comes Nico. Infinity just continuing their assault here, putting the hits on in to all the teams in the surrounding area here. Mercury juicing himself back up to full health as the rest of the cavalry comes through. Kage goes down. Roshi getting taken out by the blue zone is dead, is exploded into Oblivion vibes. Also going to get hit by Buden as G3 continue to be on the offensive here. All these teams tussling it out. We still have 15 teams left. We're in zone heading in towards zone number 5, man. That is way too many teams, but we've also got plenty of cover in this zone right now, so the teams can viably stay alive for the time being. But man, I want to see some teams getting wiped.
Yeah, definitely. G3 does look like a team that has been rejuvenated. Probably they've heard you, Patchy, and they do look like a team that's ready to get in on the action, ready to take out a couple of teams right here. You can see Bardin does turning his sights onto the guys from 7 AOK. Not sure why he's not taking the shots right here, but you can see now he's beginning to let it loose. He might be able to get that knock, and he does get that knock onto Maestri. And, he might be able to get that finish right there, turning his sights onto the rest of the teams, getting that single tap. And they do look like a team that may go on, to actually finish off this game. But Manfiller is popping up the smokes around that region and able to pretty much get that revive. Tomac also getting taken down right there from pretty much the third parties around. And it's curious to see how G3 is going to play this one. They've got a couple of teams around them. They've got 7 AOK. They've also got another team all the way on their south region, Rain Gaming. So it'll be curious to see what decisions they make. They've got to rotate into the zone right now, so it's pretty tough right now. As you see, Bardin getting another kill right there and being able to get another knock and being able to confirm that finish. So yeah, I'm really curious to see how they play this one and finish it off. But ATROX right now have, the guys from 7 AOK pretty much just gatekeeping them, holding them back, popping out the nades. Maestro, who just got taken down by the guys from G Temple, being rejuvenated right there, just looking to pop out that nades onto them. But they got to get into the zone. They got to rotate in and get into a good spot as quickly as possible, because Miramar, you don't want to rotate quite late, but one of those nades gets in the player from ATROX. Just take a look at those kill feeds right there.
Couple of Magicians finding some serious success up with Solo. Solo just getting absolutely obliterated, getting sent straight back to the lobby as well. 12 teams remaining. Zero Tolerance rolling up. Rain from Hell got a good coverage of the surrounding area. Tomac goes in. G3 riding through to try and save the David 6 guard, trying to just detract the attention away as he rotates through in a very, very bad spot. G3 scattered across the playing field as the blue zone starts to roll in. That is not not a position you want to be in. Tomac very much away from the area. I mean, look how many players from G3 are knocked down. They are not going to get rezzed up. There is absolutely no chance for them. They're just going to get thirsted. Gunner goes down. Rain from Hell also needs to reposition here as they are on the edge, not quite across the line of that zone. In the meantime, Umar going absolutely ham with this Mini 14, running out of bullets. He's shooting so much. Man, oh man, he's just looking for prey one by one. Rain from Hell also trying to get across that line, trying to get up the hill, but it's just not easy to do so with all of these teams trying to stop you from making your way up. 10 teams remaining now. We are in our top 10, but right at the top of that hill, you can see the Immortalz just sitting there with pole position right now. They are quite happy to be there. They've got a great angle on all of the surrounding teams. Zero Tolerance have a very difficult position ahead of them. You have Rain from Hell right behind them, and the Immortalz right ahead, which means they have a tough fight in front of them to try and move forward in the rest of this zone. We are moving in towards 6 zones deep, which means this blue zone is going to be doing so much damage. Skull going to go down. Sanhok okay, taking quite a bit of damage and getting sent back. 9 teams remaining here. Skull looking for something across the way. Rain from Hell also in a pretty okay position to try and get some third-party shots across the way. Sicko going to get taken down as the Magician's continuing to be absolutely torn apart. Scale, of course, hitting the deck and getting taken out of the picture. So everyone is really just making things very tough for one another. The proximity is looking super close, and there's the zone rotation as well, moving down in towards the southwest. Going to make things very difficult for the rest of these teams, and this is what you get. MFP putting in some serious fire towards the Black Crystals. They were not expecting the heat from the top of that hill, and they're taking quite a bit of damage off the back of that, and they've got lots to worry about because they also have to make the rotate in towards the zone. Everyone is in such a precarious position here, but if they're going to be able to get into the zone, it's going to be tough because there's so many teams. There's not enough space for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. But you know what? I have to say about this position that the Immortalz have. They can play spoiler for a whole lot of teams because they have a position where they can take a look at every single team who's trying to rotate and get a couple of knocks for themselves before they then decide to rotate in. And it's really curious to see because now that they've seen a whole lot of those teams, they know where they are. They know where those teams are sitting. They know where those teams are rotating from, and they can just begin to take on shots on shots. You can see the guys on INF trying to rotate into a particular spot right there, and MFP just going down right there with the vehicle right next to Mercury, and we're going to see a fight coming in between them, and Mercury just himself getting that knock right there, and most likely going to take him out of the game and get that finish. The guys from INF just putting in the work onto several different teams. You can see the guys from Magicians, they're down to 2 players. Tox and Core, they've got a space within that zone, and Mercury also putting the work right there onto another player from Zero Tolerance, getting another knock right there. He's going to get that revive onto Hansley, who's been taken down, and it's a really, really tough one right there for the guys from Magicians as they are getting pushed again by the guys from Black Clover, and Legacy just get taken down. And it's just down to Syntox, who comes in fighting it hard. He's down against the last player. Wait, not the last player, but down against another player from Brocode, but Zia able to come in and get him taken down. There's also a player from Solo who comes into the fight, takes 1 player down from Black Clover, but Zia is also able to continue to do the good work that he has been doing and get that player out. A couple of kills for them. We're down to 7 teams. We got Rain Gaming, we got XIS, we still got 7 AOK. And we got INF right here. Hansley putting in the work and taking out another team as well. So we're down to 6 teams right here. It's pretty interesting to see. We're having a whole different team, and we've seen that throughout today. Different teams, just performing. Now we have a whole new set of teams performing and down to the final circle again. So I mean, I can't even predict how the leaderboard is going to shape up at the end of the day because we're seeing different teams perform, throughout game on game.
Yeah, it's difficult to say who's going to make it up ahead. We still have 6 teams remaining, but 7 AOK is in the game. They might just make something happen. Otherwise, I'm not too sure. Sad Boy and the rest of the squad is making something happen potentially here. I believe this is the Sidemen, the XIX tag here. So the Sidemen are coming up against Rain from Hell here Argus, Neon, and Old Boy trying to defend the position. Up comes Argus, pushing through the smoke. Sleepy can spot out any of the Sidemen players, putting in the damage, but taking so much damage in return. Sleepy does find something, keeping the hopes and dreams alive here for the team from Sidemen. Going to go for the res as well as he tries to keep them alive. Hainsley going for the peak as well, putting the shots across, but the absolute lead is flying through the sky right now. 5 teams remaining here in an absolutely tiny zone, a minuscule zone. There is no space left, but we do have Influence Rage in control of the available space, which is going to make it that much harder for the rest of the team. 7 AOK now rolling up. See everyone trying to push forward. Oh, Black Crystal taking so much damage from Hainsley as Zia goes down. He is just looking for the repeat. You're looking for the thirst. He finds the kill. Sleepy goes down. In the meantime, Dojo also going to hit the deck. Hunter getting taken down from the Sidemen as they scatter through the mountainside to try and go down the cliff and try and get into that zone. You can see Sleepy and Old Boy going at it. I'm not sure if Sleepy's going to be able to get out of that situation. Hunter going on towards Sad Boy to try and stay alive with the blue zone creeping on in. It's not going to be easy whatsoever. 4 teams remaining, 8 players left alive here. Rain from Hell looking very, very down for the count. Old Boy, low on HP, no teammates to save him. 7 AOK, however, they've got some numbers, they've got some positioning, but it really is Infinity here that is in the best position. They've got a really nice kill there from Mercury, and they've got a good position in this compound here inside the zone. If they can defend this, they might just be picking up the chicken dinner. Sidemen in a very tough spot. They've only got a smoke to try and obscure the vision, try and separate them from the competition. But right now, Infinity, they're in a brilliant spot. If they can hold this down, it might just be a free chicken for them. Hunter pushing through the smoke, looking for something. Sad Boy as well, making something happen. But the nades, the mollies, they're flying up towards the Sidemen. The damage is being done, and one by one, they are falling and getting sent back to that lobby.
Oh, the guys on INF really have this all to themselves to lose as they are up against 3 players. Well, they're up against 2 teams right there. They got 7 AOK, who's just a 2-man squad, and it's all to them to just try to finish off this game right now, as they do have a good position within that zone. But Hunter might just be able to play spoiler. If he can take out 1 player from that team, then it definitely opens up the game for the guys from 7 AOK. But Mercury not having any of that, taking him out of the game. Now they can turn the sights onto the guys from 7 AOK. They're able to take out Nico, so it's down to a 2v2 right now if Mercury cannot get that revive as soon as possible. So it's all down to this at the end of the day. Who is going to get that winner chicken dinner? Nico is down. They'll pretty much be looking to get that revive. But Manfillers and Calvera will be looking to take this one away from them. Let's see how they do and if they're able to turn this position, which looks like a disadvantage for now, around, and you can see him getting that knock right there onto Hansley, and he'll be looking to make that push onto Mercury and Nico. It's all down to them at the end of the day. Nico's health is still low, so the guys from 7 AOK will be looking to make this push. They got to fight that zone. They got to come out of that spot. And you can see that Calvera is looking to take out Mercury, and he does take him down. It's all down to Nico now. And can he get that one? But
Influence Rage make the cuts, and look at those kills. That is a considerable amount of kills right there. Whew. 13 kills on the back of Influence Rage, coming in with that chicken dinner as well. 7 AOK coming in 2nd place. Also, 9 kills for them. That is very nice. And of course, Sidemen coming in 3rd position with 6 kills. So very nice coming out of these teams. A good performance once again, and a nice way to close things out. A very tough final zone as well. They made it work. They made it happen. And a very nice way to close out day number 2, if you ask me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I did think Avera was going to do it at the end of the day. I did think he was going to get that winner chicken dinner. But anyways, Nico did come in and put in the work for his team and get that win finally. So yeah, that caps things up quite well for these teams. Today was wild, man.
I mean, you can't fault Caveira there. He did everything right, to my honest opinion there. But unfortunately, it was a numbers disadvantage. And when those flanks come through, it's very difficult to try and control all of those angles, especially with those numbers against you. I don't know. It was so good from Caveira. I mean, the molly to force them out of that position took 2 outs, I think, by himself. Just has to get that last one, but unfortunately didn't happen. But it was close. It was close. I thought that was going to be the MVP play for the weekend, in all honesty. But Battle Royale, what can you do? Patchy, Miramar, done and dusted. And of course, today, done and dusted. What are your thoughts overall from what we've seen today so far?
Well, I have to say we've seen a very good performance out of the promoted teams coming out of Ngozi. So a nice performance from them. Definitely, they've shown that they are coming to play. They are coming to show what they are made of, and they're certainly doing a good job of that. On the flip side, some performance is lacking in some of the other teams that I was hoping we'd see stuff from, but it's still early days. We're still in the beginning of the season. Can't make any true predictions or claims just yet, but certainly we have seen some good stuff come out of the teams, and I hope that we continue to see some good stuff. I hope that things get a little bit more heated as the season progresses and the teams get a little bit more comfortable with one another. But here are the standings, of course, for game number 3. It is obviously Influence Rage Africa taking position number 1 with that winner chicken dinner plus the 13 kills, giving them a total of 28 points in the single game, which is quite hefty. 7 Cents Art of Killing also taking that second spot with 21 points. Sidemen taking 3rd position with 17 points, followed by Rain from Hell in 4th with 11. Black Crystal in 5th with 9. Zero Tolerance Skills in 6th with 8 points. The Immortalz in 7th position with 7 points. The Magicians in 8th position with 5 points to round out page number 1 for game 3. Of course, moving on into page number 2, we've got G3 Temper in position number 9 with 4 points. The Infinity in 10th position with 3. Aphelion, Apex, Solo Esport, and ATROX all with 2 points apiece in 11, 12, and 13, respectively. Then, of course, Toxic, Natural Killers, and EXO Redefined coming away with no points for that game in 14, 15, and 16 as well. So there you have it. That is your standings for that match. And, of course, the MVP sliding in from Influence Rage. It's Mercury, 6 kills, 862 points of damage in 27 minutes and 17 seconds of survival time. So the performances from our MVPs for all 3 maps today have been quite hefty, quite considerable, and certainly a respectable number of kills and bits of damage done overall. Very nice, very well played from Mercury for that Miramar game, and certainly for Influence Rage Africa for taking that chicken.
Ooh, okay. So, I mean, with that, the second day done and dusted, obviously when we move on to the overall standings, for those of you watching, keep in mind that it is all of the teams from yesterday and today on the same leaderboard. So you'll see some names you might have not seen today, but gives us a very good example and a very good indication of where the rest of the teams are currently at, because you've got 4 groups. Technically, all 4 groups have now had a chance to actually play it out. So you've got a bit of an idea. Patchy, if you would, please, sir, take us through it.
Yeah. Let's go through those overall standings. So we are sitting with Influence Rage taking number 1 for the time being. A considerable performance today has boosted them just above Rilla Insider, who is in position number 2 with 53. Slime 4KT still maintaining a nice top 3 there on the overall leaderboard with 48 points in 3rd position. 7 Cents Art of Killings have made their way up into position number 4, stealing that away with 46 points from KHK, who is sitting in 5th position with 48 points. C Esports still maintaining their position on the first page in 6th position with 33 points. Zero Tolerance moving up onto first page with 7th position, 29 points for that. And well, Team Somalia also with 29 points in 8th place. So a very nice looking first page. I can see there is good contest between these groups. The fact that we have seen Rilla Insider and Influence Rage Africa top in the charts so far from yesterday and today, putting on quite a considerable number of points. I mean, 60 points and 53 points are quite good for a single day's performance. And with that, I think that we can expect some serious things coming out of our top 5 teams for sure. KHK,
Not just that,
7 Sins.
but keep in mind, Patchy, that the top 8, out of those top 8, 4 of them are in Corsi teams.
Yeah, no, it's nuts. It's good to see as well. It's nice to see 4KT reappearing there. Of course, the champs of our previous season really showing us that they are still coming in swinging. But as you mentioned, I mean, seeing the teams from Nkosi do so well is very, very nice to see. It's quite encouraging for them and for anyone who's prospective to come into the Umzansi Esports League. Of course, moving on to that second page, feeling Apex taking 9th position with 28. So they are super, super close to that first page. Solo Esport as well, 28 points in 10th place. Black Clover coming in 11th with 27 points, as well as the Magicians with 27 points in 12. We've got the Sidemen in 13th position with 24. BBC in 14th position with 21, as well as G3 Temper with 21 in 15th place. Immortalz in 16 with 18 points. So yeah, as we move down onto that second page, you can see certainly a nice spread of both Nkosi and Umzansi teams, or at least promoted Nkosi teams and the Umzansi teams making their show on this second page here. G3 obviously still here, but not in a position they want to be, trying to get some more points for them. Black Clover also, the Magicians as well, another team that I think a lot of teams have been, or a lot of players and people have been looking for to see if they perform, and they're keeping their position there on the second page is pretty good. Of course, moving down onto that third page, we've got Rain from Hell in 17th place with 16, as well as Toxic Esport with 16 in 18th position. Young Thunder in 19 with 14, Sincerity with 14 in 20. We've got Black Crystal with 13 points in 21, Fear with 12, as well as Natural Killers and Team Unique with 12 points apiece in 22, 23, and 24 each. So, I mean, for a day's performance for all of these teams, certainly nothing to scoff at. But ultimately, at the end of the day, what you don't want to be is on this page right here, because of course this is at the end of the day, the relegation page. Now, of course, for the time being, it's not a problem right now, as I mentioned, early days. But to move down to the last page, it's 25th position with Ultra 6, 10 points, Lag Esports in 26 with 10, the Infinity in 27th position with 9, Comfy 6 with 8 points in 28, Rainbow 6, as well as ATROX with 5 points apiece in 29 and 30, and EXO Redefined coming in 31 with 2 points. So yeah, certainly want to be putting some more points on the board as they progress through the season. I'm sure that they're hoping for a much better performance as the season progresses, as we have more matches. There's still plenty of time to put the points on the board, plenty of matches still to come, but definitely our leaders on that first page have shown that they are coming in swinging in a big way.
Absolutely, and I'm happy to see it. You know, normally coming through from Nkosi, we're a little bit concerned. We're like, maybe they won't have what it takes to, you know, keep up with the big dogs, but they definitely are making statements tonight. Not only yesterday, but today as well. We're seeing those Nkosi teams rise to the top, and the fact that we've got half of the top 8 currently Nkosi teams makes a statement. Maybe we need to just keep an eye out for the next Nkosi, which happens on Tuesdays every week. So you should check out, you know, the Northern Gaming Africa website for the dates, registration details, you know, maybe some streams in between. Just going to mention that. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us today for the second day of the Umzansi Esports League Season 4, brought to you by Northern Gaming Africa. It's been a pleasure to join Patchy and Fire on these fire games that we saw tonight. It was amazing. Thank you guys so much for joining, and a big shout out to our production team who make us look good, you know, so that's always helpful for us. We'll see you guys tomorrow, please. Same time, same place, and you betcha there's going to be so much action to watch. See you tomorrow. Stay safe.